Today on the Big 3 and 30, the Hoosiers win the national championship behind their Heisman winner.
We have hyped it up. We've dreamt of this, but now it's reality.
On the other sideline, Miami hopes the U is back for good after this playoff run.
The reality is we just lost the Natty, 27-21, in a game we should have won.
And LSU hosts the top offensive lineman in the transfer portal.
Both of those players, as I understand, want to be at LSU.
This is the Big 3 and 30 NBA. The three biggest stories in the NBA from our local experts at the Locked On Podcast Network. We bring you the real story, why it matters, what's next, who wins the big game, and more, all in 30 minutes. The Big 3 and 30 NBA starts now. Thank you for making the Big 3 and 30 your first listen of the day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com and win $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. The Indiana Hoosiers made history last night in one of the greatest sports stories we'll ever get. Indiana beat Miami to win the national championship and finish 16-0. And Jacob Goins goes over the crowning of a new champion on Locked On Hoosiers.
The Indiana Hoosiers. I want everybody to listen because we've talked about it. We have hyped it up. We've dreamt of this, but now it's reality. In the year and the season of 2025 and 2026, the Indiana football Hoosiers are national champions.
Here's the wild thing about it to me, Goins. When Curt Cignetti got hired, was there a single Hoosier fan that saw this coming or said this is the standard or this is the expectation? No. Was there a single national pundit, myself or others, that said he's going to go on to win a Big Ten and national championship? No, of course not. But Curt Cignetti is so likable in so many ways and is great for college football because the way his team plays is the way it looks like he approaches every single day at the office. Bull don't care. Just shows up and said, nope, this is what we're doing. This is the standard. This is the way it goes. I mean, this was not a discussion at all when he got hired. Not even close. No one had this on the radar. This is the greatest story in the history of college football. Period.
I think it's the biggest turnaround in the history of sports.
I don't know what's comparable, because the other thing too is you got to think this is college athletics. This is not the equivalent, though it's a great story. This is not like Dan Campbell taking the Lions, who, and by the way, he only got to the NFC Championship game. And that's incredible. I mean, watching that happen, my Mariners going to Game 7 of the ALCS, incredible. They didn't even make the final game or series, let alone win the whole thing.
Yeah. Doubling down from last year, right? Indiana winning all those games, getting to the playoff, and it was like, oh,
insane.
This was kind of cool. This was kind of fun. This year, the expectation was, okay, get a little bit further. Get to the playoff and win that big game. But my goodness, Spencer, did they win big game after big game after big game?
In every fashion.
They won them all. They won every single game on the schedule. Indiana is the first team in the history of this amazing sport to be 16-0.
And by the way, champions. There is no, conversation that can be had about, well, they got an easy playoff path. Nope. They did. Well, their regular season schedule. Nope. You can't say that either. There's nothing that you can lob accusationally against the Hoosiers. And they were the best team in college football this year. And they wound up winning. Can we go through the moments in this game? Because I'm sure I'm sure Hoosier, I don't know when exactly you wanted to, but I just wanted to go through some of the moments in this game. And one thing that stood out to me about Indiana's big game consistency, their tight game consistency, the execution in key spots, third and fourth downs, defense comes up with it late. I watched all three sides of the ball carry the day for the Indiana Hoosiers. Special teams, brilliant. I think it was Indiana's best side of the ball for all four quarters.
That was the most inexperienced in terms of actual playing time this year.
Yeah, and I think it was the best side of the ball consistently for Indiana in this game.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the fact that they almost missed an extra point, but didn't. All the field goals went in. The punt that pinned the Hurricanes inside the 10 sets up the block punt for the touchdown. You win the game by 6. I mean, at the end there, Miami's offense started rolling. I mean, really rolling.
How magical was it, though? How magical was it for the game to end on a Carson Beck interception?
Yeah, I mean
that's so storybook, like full circle moment. Like you start reading the book, it starts to take a turn, but you know it's going to make its way back. That's what happened in this game. That's what happened.
And you know what this game came down to? It is stuff that we talked about on our crossover segments on Monday. Well, earlier today, as you're listening to this. Indiana is a more disciplined football team. They're the most disciplined football team, and Miami couldn't make the mistakes, right? Miami played a heck of a football game. They really did. Yeah, you look at what Oregon and Alabama were able to do. No one played Indiana to a single-digit game this year, but Ohio State and Miami. So full credit there to Mario Cristobal and the Hurricanes. The defensive ends, boy, they were good. Those two guys almost single-handedly kept Miami. Almost single-handedly won the national championship there. But the fact of the matter is Indiana got a touchdown. Why? Because they went from 3rd and 12 to 3rd and 7 after an offside to a handoff for a first down and a touchdown.
Yeah.
And then there was a 3rd and long, and then it was a face mask. I think they overcame that one. But Carson Beck throws the interception. Mendoza didn't. Like that's really what this was. The team that everyone talked about as being more detail-oriented, better coached, fewer mistakes, not going to beat themselves. They didn't beat themselves. And Miami, it was a handful of plays, but guess what? When you're a prize fight like this, that's what it comes down to.
They added up. And Indiana's consistency and execution came down to being the difference in a game like this, where Indiana flat out did not play their best football. They played one of their worst games in the last 2 months, I think, especially on the offensive side, and give Miami a ton of credit as we will. But that's where those things come into play. That's where the extra reps in spring, the workout over the summer, the longer practice in the fall, that's where those things come in, is at a 27-21 game when your defense is on the field having to get a stop to win a national championship. When it's 4th and 5 and your head coach says, nah, we're good. We don't want the field goal. Let's give it to our Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. And not only does he pick up yards, not only does he pick up the first down, he picked up the damn touchdown, and Indiana wins the national championship because of it. That's the craziest call I've ever seen in my entire life.
I was flabbergasted.
That is unbelievable.
That you called that on 4th and 5. What are you, Iowa? Sitting there going, we can't throw it, so we're going to have to run. I mean, ballsy.
Yes.
Ballsy.
Yes.
As can be from Mike Shanahan to put that call out there. And look, I don't think Indiana managed this game perfectly. Their staff, of course, won the day when it was all said and done, but it's the worst play call you've ever seen if they don't convert on 4th and 5. Mendoza gives a Herculean effort. Who's 78 on the Indiana offensive line?
You have Smith, you have Lynch, and then you have Coogan in the center right there, too.
Right. Who is number 78?
You're getting me on the spot here.
Okay. Look it up real quick. His name has to be set. But Kurt Signetti goes, no, we're going for it. All right, now we'll kick the field goal. Timeout. We don't want to delay again. You know what?
Yeah, Coogan, the center. Okay, that's what I thought. Coogan.
78 is Pat Coogan.
Right in the middle.
Notre Dame. There you go. He made the block.
Who got a shout out for Marcus Freeman on the pregame show.
Block of the year on that quarterback draw. I mean, the length at which he holds a great Miami interior defensive lineman. I don't care which one it was. Miami's defensive front, I think, beat Indiana's O-line. In this game, they absolutely
both
did.
Both tackles were horrific,
and so I just that play call, man. If it doesn't work, you're getting blasted if you lose the game. And instead, Mendoza just gives you an effort. I mean,
27-21 final score. Indiana beats Miami in their home stadium. But did you notice who had more fans there?
I was
The
about to
Indiana
shout out the
Hoosiers.
Indiana fans, man. They traveled.
Yes, they did. To the most expensive game in the history of college football to get in the doors. An Indiana fan said, we don't care. And I don't even want to describe this, Spencer, as a once-in-a-lifetime thing, because Indiana's not going anywhere. And that's a conversation for after tonight, right?
Yeah.
We're celebrating this. We're celebrating this season. We're celebrating this game. But that is a conversation for down the road. Indiana fans believed. That's what it came down to. The Hoosiers fans showed up because they knew their team was going to win the national championship. And how romantic is it that the best team in the country won the national championship? Because that's not always the case. It's not always the case at all. But Indiana got it done 27-21. We're going to go through all those big moment plays. First quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth. We'll do likes and dislikes, of course, at the end. We'll kind of break all this down. I don't know exactly what direction we're going to go down the stretch. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of you in here. So
we'll do it live.
In the YouTube comments. You know
what?
We'll
do it live.
We'll do it live. Absolutely, we will. And this game started basically like I thought it was going to, Spencer. How I predicted the Oregon game to start, that didn't go so well. This game, on the other hand, you're welcome. This game, on the other hand, slow offenses, great defensive plays, and just not a whole lot happening. Miami started 0 for 8 on third down. They had scored on a non-third down play, but 0 for 8 on third down, and Indiana wasn't much better. It started really ugly, Spencer, and both defenses showed up to play like we thought they would.
The NFL playoffs are rolling along, and FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. Every game day during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action. Right now, every NFL playoff game day, FanDuel users get a Profit Boost pack waiting for them inside the app. Each game day, you'll see a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts you can apply to the bets you like most. Open your Profit Boost pack first thing on game day and see what boosts you want to apply. The boost lets you lean into your game day instincts, whether you're backing momentum, defense, quarterback play, or coaching. Every play feels bigger, and the boosts make your bet feel that way too. Visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your Profit Boost pack every NFL playoff game day.
Welcome back to the Big 3 and 30 College. Carson Beck's interception on the final drive of the national championship game ended the Miami Hurricanes season, but the U has found its place back on the national stage. Locked On Canes looks at the season and what comes next in Coral Gables.
The reality is we just lost the Natty, 27-21. In a game we should have won. If you think about it, we lost the Natty because of a blocked punt and a missed field goal. A blocked punt and a missed field goal cost us the Natty. Now, there were a ton of penalties that were driving me nuts throughout the game, especially on defense. Third downs that extended drives and really just allowed them to score more points. And then the 2 fourth down conversions on that one late drive. But, man, oh, man, what a game, an all-time classic. It sucks to come up on the wrong side of it. There are all kinds of things that I can sit up here and complain about right now and things that I think went wrong in that game that should have gone right. And I said it all night long. In the fourth quarter, he got better, but Dawson was terrible. He was terrible tonight. He should not be the offensive coordinator anymore at the University of Miami. He should be gone, and he should be gone now. I mean, I just did not like the play calling at all. In the fourth quarter, made up for it a little bit. I liked the Mally Tony in motion and the misdirection to Fletcher. Hey, a misdirection, a counterplay. Imagine that. Anything besides the delayed middle draw. And then on that last drive of the game, why in the world do you forget about running the football? You say no timeouts, but they're only rushing 3 guys up front, and you have a chance. I don't know. I just felt like they should have mixed in a draw on that last drive, and that's where Dawson got exposed. Indiana, late in the game on these fourth downs, I mean, they scored the winning touchdown, Indiana did, on a quarterback draw on 4th and 5. You know what I'm saying? On 4th and 5, they run a quarterback draw, and it was just beautiful. So all kinds of things to talk about and go over with this game, but 27-21, the final. Miami loses in the Natty at home to Indiana. Oh, number 6 was so close, wasn't it? Tonight's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The college football playoff is over now, but FanDuel is the best place to get into the action throughout the playoffs and obviously every sport that you can possibly imagine. The NFL playoffs, obviously, in high gear right now as well. So visit FanDuel.com, get your college football playoff profit boosts every game day. Obviously, this copy's old. NFL playoffs as well. All right, I'm Grease. This is the postcast. It sucks to be a Miami Hurricane at the moment because of the numbers you see in front of you. 27-21, we lose in the Natty, but it's great to be a Miami Hurricane. As you know, we're proud with this U, and our future is looking bright. I will tell you what, and we have a lot to talk about on this show. We're going to give you the numbers, going to give you the ups, the downs, the ins, the outs, everything that happened in this game tonight, culminating in the Miami Hurricanes losing 27-21 in the national championship game to the Indiana Hoosiers. Grease, the postcast, let's roll.
This is what you'll be talking about.
These are some of the hardest shows in the world to do, by the way, when your team loses a game like this and you got to come on right after. So thank you guys for bearing with me. Just a real tough one, man. I really think Dawson sucks. I've said it all year. I said it all last year. They have the best talent in the country, this Miami Hurricanes team. And, you know, when you're getting exposed by the other team's coaching staffs, and look, the talent was so great on this year's team that we were able to put the playoff run together against Texas A&M, against Ohio State, against Ole Miss, coming back in a game that, and look, having to survive a Hail Mary in a game we should have won by 20-plus points. Same thing with SMU, should have won that game easily by a couple of touchdowns, and instead, just like the SMU game in overtime, or just this was more like the Louisville game in regulation where Beck throws the INT late to kill a potential game-winning drive. It was almost the exact same scenario as the Louisville game. And look, I mean, this team played to its personality tonight, and we're going to take you through everything that happened in this game. And when you think about really what happened tonight was Fernando Mendoza made plays when he had to. They get the 2 4th downs. I don't know. There's so many things, right? You could talk about the missed field goal. You know what I mean? Davis hits the upright in the first half from 50, plenty of leg on the kick. And then they give up the block punt for the touchdown. Alex Bauman just lets the guy go right by him. You know what I mean? And they block the punt. They score the touchdown. So the block punt touchdown and the missed field goal, that's a 10-point swing in a game you lost by 6. And yes, we did cover. We did cover no matter where you got us on that line. So thank God, a little bit of a dub for some of us tonight, but obviously hollow with the scoreboard being what it is. And 27-21, the final. Indiana came out looking real good in the first half, dominating Miami, right? This isn't what we've seen on the playoff run for the Hurricanes so far. You know, we have not, and I don't know if Alex is coming in tonight or not. I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. I haven't heard from him. I know he's on QAM as well. But the first national championship for the Indiana Hoosiers that wasn't won by Bob Knight and the basketball program, unbelievable 16-0 season. Wow. You know, they've lost 715 games in the history of their program, up and down, a seesaw game. And man, I really thought we were the better team on that field tonight, guys. I did, but give them credit. They blocked the punt when they had to. They picked the ball off late. That throw to Marion, though, from Beck was underthrown. And I don't understand, all right? I'm just, this one thing where I really come down on Dawson. And again, I'm live right after the game, and I would love the opportunity to come back on and talk about this after I've had the chance to really, you know, go through it and go over it. But my initial reaction is we should have won that game by 2 touchdowns. We should have won that game by 2 touchdowns. It shouldn't have been close. Now, look, in the first half, they shut us down. They shiggity shut us down, right? In the first half, they did. They shut the run game down, but I didn't think we ran the ball enough. At one point in time, we went, and it was over an hour of actual time, but it was like a full quarter where Fletcher did not get a carry. He was the best player on the field tonight. I thought, didn't you think Mark Fletcher Jr. was the best player on the field tonight? You know, and then, you know, you're going down the field and you hold them, and everything's swinging in our direction, right? You're actually thinking, wow, man, oh man, like, you know, we outscore them 14-10 in the fourth quarter. They blocked the punt, you know, to score the touchdown. And it was really just a terrible, terrible thing, you know, that happened in this game tonight with Miami, because in the first half, you're not really getting any traction. You're not getting anything going offensively. They didn't let Beck do anything crazy with the ball, and they weren't, you know, nothing downfield at all, right? And I'm when I say they're not letting Beck do anything crazy with the ball, Dawson was very close to the vest with the middle draw all night long. And I'm just sitting there like, dude, what are you doing over and over and over again? And then you get away from it. And I just don't understand the play calling, but it is what it is, man. You know, they were really good offensively tonight when they needed to be. They scored touchdowns late in the game, to get within striking distance. I don't want to make this just negative, but they should have won this game. The block punt for a touchdown, that's inexcusable. How about the last drive of the game? You come out on your own 25-yard line, no timeouts, 2 minutes left in the game, less than 2 minutes left in the game, and you get a delay of game. I almost dropped an F-bomb. A delay of game to start the drive. I repeat, a delay of game to start the drive. That's the coaches. That is coaching, and that's Beck too, right? So that's inexcusable on Dawson's part. You don't have a play ready? Are you kidding me? You take a delay of game and make it 1st and 15, and then it just kind of, you're discombobulated. You're not really looking like you're sharp and ready to just go down and score at that moment. And you come out with the delay of game penalty on the opening play of the drive, and then you're out of sync. And, a couple of big plays from the receivers bail you out. Tony was phenomenal tonight. And look, on those last couple of drives, Carson Beck was great. That last interception deep down the sideline toward Marion was underthrown. Without a doubt, it was underthrown. He'd love to have that back. And you just thought, like, here's the fairy tale for Carson Beck, right? Because you'd think, like, if it's the fairy tale for Mendoza, the 12-play, 75-yard drive, 4th and 7, 4th and 5, the quarterback draw, he scores. That's his moment. The Heisman Trophy winner, he got blasted on that play, by the way. Got absolutely blasted. But, when I think about Mendoza scoring, that touchdown makes it 24-14, and you're like, oh, man. See, that block punt was huge because at that point in time, it's upping everything back to a 2-score lead for Indiana. And then Miami goes 8 plays, 91 yards, picks up the touchdown, and that made it 24-21. To me, I'm going nuts at this point. I'm literally going nuts.
Welcome back to the Big 3 and 30 College. Colorado transfer offensive lineman Jordan Seaton is one of the most sought-after players in the portal, and he's visiting LSU next as he mulls a decision. Matt Moscona gets into his recruitment on Locked On LSU.
So I'll tell you what I know, and I need you to understand you're going to have to go on a little bit of a ride with me here, okay? Because I almost feel like Dick Tracy. Maybe that's not a great analogy. That's old. What's a new covert ops investigator? I don't do pop culture, I don't know TV. Someone, just whatever the new detective show is, I'm that guy. So I'll walk you through what I know, because I actually pieced together throughout the Lane Kiffin saga, like when LSU was pursuing him, very candidly, the single most ridiculous moment of that entire thing for me personally, as everyone was following flight trackers, there was a day where a flight left Louisiana, Hammond, bound for Oxford, and then was going to Gainesville. And I ended up tracking that flight, had a source in Oxford, confirmed to me that was a plane going to pick up a dog, like a hunting dog. And it was so absurd that we were tracking planes that were going to pick up hunting dogs. And the owner was just trolling people by putting Gainesville as the next destination, knowing everyone was tracking flights. That was a ridiculous moment. What I'm about to share with you feels like an equally or greater ridiculous moment because of what I had to do to piece this together. Okay. So let me tell you how the day went, first of all. Okay. So Jordan Seaton, by now, if you're an everyday or you heard our previous episode, got to Baton Rouge on Sunday. They had a great visit. He was at football ops Sunday night, went to dinner at Stabs Prime. Everything went great. Everything I was told is what I've shared with you. They want Seaton. They want Prince Will Umanmielen. Both of those players, as I understand, want to be at LSU. Financially, it is a heavy lift considering you already have an epic portal haul. 39 players, the number one quarterback, a 5-star backup quarterback, a number 3 quarterback that from the FCS level that everybody wants, a former 5-star receiver, a former 5-star edge rusher, defensive tackles from Auburn and Clemson, the number 1 safety in the portal. You get it. Okay. They've 39 players and they have crushed the portal, but that is expensive. So now you're talking about 2 guys in Jordan Seaton and Prince Will Umanmielen who are both going to carry 7-figure price tags. How do you make this work? That's the big question, is making all of this work. Okay. They both sides want to be together. Now it's just about making the terms work. Okay. So Monday, remember Pete Thamel reported that Seaton Monday was supposed to catch flight to Eugene, Oregon. I reported that on Sunday that Seton was supposed to be having dinner Monday night at Supper Club in Baton Rouge. Supper Club's closed Monday. They were going to open up for a private dinner just for Seton and the LSU contingent. Same thing they did for Sam Levitt a few weeks back. That was Sunday night. Monday morning, I got a call that dinner had been canceled. So a lot of the concern or question was, okay, well, if he canceled the dinner, does that mean he's going to Oregon? Well, it was radio silence, and it was eerily quiet. I couldn't get anyone to answer the question to me, is this gigantic 6'5", 330-pound human still in Baton Rouge, or did he get on a flight to Eugene, Oregon? And so it's odd because usually I get somebody to answer that question, like, is he still physically? Can you at least, you have to tell me what he's leaning, anything about the terms of a deal, or just, is he still physically here? Like, that's all I really want to know. And I couldn't get an answer to that question on Monday, which was just odd. The last time things were that quiet were kind of around the Levitt things as well, when all of that was happening that week. So you could tell, and by the way, I admire that tremendously. During the whole coaching search, you heard me say, loose lips sink ships. There's times where they need to batten down the hatches, be quiet, not let any info out because they're trying to get a deal done. Not only do you not want anything leaking to about where the players, the negotiations, because then you're also telling the other schools vying for this player, this prospect, how the negotiations go. And it's like a game of poker. You don't want to show your cards. So I get it. A job well done by LSU. So it was very quiet. But about 4:30, okay, mind you, at this point, we don't know if Seton is on a flight to Eugene, Oregon, if he's still in Baton Rouge. Do they have him just locked in football ops, not letting him leave? So at 4:30, I got a message that he was still on campus. So 4:30 p.m. Central Time, that Seton was still at LSU football ops. So he never flew to Eugene, Oregon Monday, like the report from Pete Thamel. So that didn't happen. The dinner Monday night was canceled, but he was still at football ops. So it's interesting, and a bit of a revelation there that he didn't go to Eugene. Okay, and remember, you're on a little bit of a deadline here because Tuesday, as we've explained, Tuesday is the deadline to enroll in spring classes at LSU. That's significant, and you can roll your eyes and say they're not students, but they are. They have to be enrolled in school. If he was going to go through spring practice, it's got to be enrolled, right? You have to be enrolled for the spring semester to go through spring football. So Tuesday's the last day to enroll. If he gets on a plane Monday to Eugene, Oregon, it's going to be really hard to enroll in classes on Tuesday at LSU. It's not to say he couldn't still join the team. He just wouldn't be here for spring, most likely. So 4:30, you get that. I get that note that he's here, still in Baton Rouge. That seems like a big win for LSU. And then about an hour later, about 5:30, Jordan Seton posts a video on his Instagram story. It's an 8-second video, and it's a video of him in a Louisiana State Police unit. And there's an escort, a police escort with multiple state police units. And if you're familiar with Baton Rouge, you could tell they're in downtown Baton Rouge. And there's a quick moment where Jordan Seton pans the camera, and you can see he's next to the Pentagon Barracks. Now, if you're familiar with downtown Baton Rouge, there's the Louisiana State Capitol. Behind the Capitol is the governor's mansion. And then adjacent to the Capitol is the Pentagon Barracks, very old building from Civil War times, which is right on River Road next to the Mississippi River. Beautiful old building. It's a military-style building, beautiful old building. Anyway, that's the building that you can see. It's a red building. You can see pans with the beautiful columns. Beautiful building. It's unmistakable if you know downtown Baton Rouge. So he was downtown there near the Pentagon Barracks, Capitol, and the governor's mansion. Well, at 3:02, all right, follow me here, okay? The Instagram story, again, I told you, this is me doing investigative work. So Seton posts this video at 5:30. Well, if you look at the dash on the trooper's unit, the time is 3:04. The time that he's taking the video is 3:04. So he didn't post the video for another hour and a half after he took it, or 2.5 hours, right? So he takes the video at 3:04. He didn't post it till 5:30. Well, 2 minutes before that, at 3:02 p.m., Lane Kiffin posted on his Twitter a photo of Lane's nephew, who they affectionately call Cookie. That's Chris Kiffin's son. cookie with Governor Jeff Landry at the governor's mansion. So I'm using deductive reasoning here to suggest that the way this day went for Jordan Seaton is had dinner Sunday night, woke up Monday, had a day at football ops, and then went to the governor's mansion with a police escort with Lane Kiffin to meet Governor Jeff Landry. They left at 3:00. That's when Kiffin posted the photo of his nephew with the governor, and that's when Seaton simultaneously took the video near the Pentagon barracks, which again is right in. So it's Pentagon barracks. Next to the barracks is the state capitol. Then behind the capitol is the governor's mansion. So clearly, he had a state police escort to the governor's mansion. So he's leaving. Seaton's leaving the governor's mansion. Kiffin posts the photo of his nephew. Seaton takes the video. He goes back to football ops. When he's back at football ops is when my source told me that he was still there. Seaton was still at campus. And then about an hour after my source told me that Seaton was still on campus is when Seaton posted the Instagram story. So at least as of 5:30, when he posted that Instagram story, Seaton was still in Baton Rouge. That's a fantastic sign for LSU because they're desperate to make sure that he doesn't leave Baton Rouge without signing and enrolling in classes on Tuesday. If he had left Monday to go to Eugene, Oregon to visit the Ducks, that's not great for LSU. I don't know if they have a commitment. I don't know if, as of this very moment, I'm recording this at 11:15 p.m. Central Time on Monday night. I don't know if they have a commitment. I don't know if he signed his paperwork. I don't know if any of those things are formal. What I do know is, as of Monday late afternoon, Jordan Seaton was still in Baton Rouge, which is a great sign because I don't know that he got on a plane Monday night to Eugene, Oregon. And if he wakes up Tuesday and flies to Eugene, that's not a great sign for LSU. If he wakes up Tuesday and enrolls in classes, he's going to be an LSU Tiger, and LSU will continue accumulating its embarrassment of riches in this portal class. So there you have it. There is my I don't know who's a great investigative report. My Woodward and Bernstein hat there for you. Actually zooming in on an Instagram story to see the time on the dash of the Louisiana State Police car to see that it was 3:04 at the time he took the video, even though he posted it at 5:30. In any event, it's a good sign for LSU.
That's all for today's Big 3 in 30 College. If you follow pro basketball or football, the Big 3 in 30 has shows for the biggest news in the NBA and the NFL going up every weekday just like this one. Just search the Big 3 in 30 NBA or the Big 3 in 30 NFL, wherever you're listening or watching now. Thanks again for tuning in to the Big 3 in 30 College.